time, son. I'm a survivor. I will survive.
Right along live special report. We're coming to you live with a breaking news. Just came into our news desk, and we're following this report from St. Vincent and the Grenadines right now, where the Prime Minister, Dr. Rav Gonsalves, have been injured in some sort of attack during a protest. We are going to get all the updates, the latest as to what's happening at the moment. We got someone on the ground that's going to be giving us some information. So I want you guys to share this out, because this is the latest as what's happening right now in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And we have a team on the ground who is going to be giving us some information. The organizers of the protest is also on the line with us, and they're going to be chatting with us. It's very, very, very significant. What's happening right now is pandemonium, as they say right now in Kingston, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, capital city. Again, as the Prime Minister, Dr. Rav Gonsalves, somehow got injured allegedly by a stone. Someone threw a stone, and the Prime Minister was injured. As to the severity of the injury, we're not sure. There are pictures circulating on social media. In fact, we did come across a few pictures that showed the injury. There we can't tell how significant the injury is at this point in time, and but we are following all the development as is happening right now. Pandemonium on the street in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. This is a ride along special report. Again, let's see if we could bring in some of our team. We have someone from Rise Haruna. She is on the line. Nakisha, she's the PRO of Rise Haruna, and she's on the ground. Nakisha, let me drop my audio down so we could get some information from you. Nakisha, could you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, Nakisha, first of all, thanks for giving us a feed from the ground, on the ground in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. What's happening right now, Nakisha?
Right now, the people have decided not to leave the city. They are still on the ground. Not sure if you can see. What is going on right now?
So is the protest subsiding at the point, or there's more people that's coming out? I think we do have a picture right now. Hold on, we were just provided with this picture. This is Dr. Rav Gonsalves, the Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, allegedly injured by a stone of some sort. We don't have any other updates on his condition, but that's all that we have right now circulating on his condition. Nakisha, why was the protest organized? Tell us about the protest and the organization behind the protest.
Okay, Junior, the organized basically to show that amend what we have the Public Health Act. Currently, the Public Health Act allows a person to denied of any medication. However, with the pandemic and the need for the government to taking the vaccine, they have decided to make it mandatory that would what they call the frontline workers. Nurses,
right.
That would be nurses in the health care, person teaching first. This is something that we certainly do not agree with. And as a result, we had organized our discipline with the change in the amendment in the Public Health. As a result, the persons who have already been affected, they need government help to enforce the taking by the employees as a result, and how to be in numbers, thousands. It was protest in recent years. Thousands of people marching to the day, and the day was just
Yeah,
And
hold on one second. Hold on one second, Nikisha. We're not hearing you too clearly. There is some sort of distortion, and the audio is terrible, so we can't even understand what you're saying. So let me see if you could get to a better reception area, signal area. Are you able to hear me clearly? Okay, we lost her. So guys, let me tell you what the latest that we have right now. We just got report right before I came on air of pandemonium in the street of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, where the Prime Minister, Dr. Rav Ganzav, was somehow attacked allegedly by a stone. This is a picture that's circulating on Facebook right now. We unaware of the severity of the assault. Who assaulted him? We don't know, but there are pictures that are circulating. I believe there are videos that just came into our files. Let me see if I could pull that video in on how the incident actually happened. Let me see if I could pull this up right now. And we got Nikisha, and hopefully we got a better signal from her end. This is how it transpired, guys, before the incident happened. Nikisha, are you back with us? Nikisha, are you back with us? We're still not hearing you as yet, Nikisha. All right, we're hearing you now, Nikisha. Are you there? Nikisha, are you there?
hello.
Yes, yes. Okay, Nikisha, we're hearing you now. You were saying about the reason for the protests.
Hello.
Yeah, are you hearing me, Nikisha? Nikisha,
Hello?
are you able to hear me?
Hello.
Yeah, are you able to hear me, Nikisha?
I can barely hear you.
I can barely hear you.
All right, Nikisha, so we're hearing you. Just tell us the reason for the protest, because we didn't understand you the first time around. All right, as you
Hello?
put
Hello.
in, yeah, Nikisha, are you able to hear me? Nikisha, by the way, is in the middle of the protest, guys, and it's very difficult for she to hear us
Hear you
properly because
now.
you would imagine that
Yes, I'm able
there are
to
a lot
hear
of
you now.
noise. All right, Nikisha, tell us again the reason for the protest.
The reason for the
The
protest
reason
is
for the
that the
protest
government has
is that the
decided
government has
to
decided
amend
to amend
the public.
the public.
Okay.
Okay. Woo.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, I
let me
understand.
try to
Let me
get.
try to get.
Yeah,
Uh,
Uh,
can you hear me
can you
now?
hear me now?
yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead, Nikisha.
Okay. So
Okay,
the
so
reason
the
behind
reason
the
behind the
protest
protest
is the
is the
government has
government has
decided to
decided to
amend the
amend
Public
the
Health
Public Health
Act
Act
to
to
make
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 vaccination
vaccination
mandatory, the
mandatory, the
COVID
COVID
vaccine
vaccine
mandatory.
mandatory.
Right.
Persons are
Persons
not
are
too
not too
satisfied with
satisfied
that,
with that,
and they
and they
believe their
believe their
choice
choice
in whether
in
it
whether it
is
is
of
of
conscience
conscience
or
or
for religious
for religious
reasons, medical
reasons, medical
reasons,
reasons,
whatever it
whatever it
is, they
is, they
should
should
have
have
that
that choice.
choice. What
What
this
this
new
new
amendment
amendment
does
does
is
is
that
that
it
it
your
your
private
private
doctor
doctor
is no
is no
longer
longer
able
able
to
to
decide
decide
you're
you're
not
not
able
able
to
to
take a
take a
vaccine for whatever
vaccine
the
for
reason.
whatever the reason.
This
This
doctor
doctor
is
is
now going
now
to have
going to
to
have to
submit
submit
a reason
a reason
to the
to
chief
the chief
medical
medical
officer, who will then decide if that reason is valid enough. Additionally to that,
Nikisha, go ahead. Guys, Nikisha is in the middle of the protest there in St. Vincent and the Grenadines right now, right? She's in the middle there, as you could imagine. Um, as she tried to explain and bring this thing into perspective for us, we learned about this a few minutes ago. This protest, this have been going on in St. Vincent for quite a while over some related issues, issues of water, issues where we had the lawyer on talking to us about this, but it seems as it went a different direction today after the Prime Minister was assaulted, and we see the picture circulated. Somehow he was injured as a result of the protest. As to who did it, there are videos circulating. Someone said it's allegedly someone who threw a stone. We don't know.
knows.
That's the allegation that's going around. Nikita, go ahead. It's a bit clear now, I believe.
Yeah, the people are still in town. I myself was injured. I collected a stone to my hand. It's swollen right now, but um, the people are still here. They're not going home. They're not leaving.
Yeah. How did the Prime Minister get? Were you on the scene?
Yes, I was. What happened was that the protesters decided they were not going to allow him to allow his vehicle to go back in.
Hi guys, again we're having some audio challenges as Nikisha is trying to situate herself so she could give us some proper visual and audio right there. But this is what we know for now, right? We are sharing the information as we get it. It's kind of a very liquid situation that's happening right now because the protest is currently ongoing on the ground in St. Vincent and the Grenadines right now. Tensions are rising, and folks are saying it's like pandemonium in the street. These are some file footage that was sent to us earlier today, and the people are not leaving the scene. They are still in and around Kingston, St. Vincent at the moment. Again, if we could get Nikisha back on so she could talk to us a little bit more. If there's anyone, right? If there's anyone in St. Vincent and the Grenadines that have any information, you might be close in proximity and you want to call us in to give us some information, this is the number that you could call, 718-701-5720. That's 718-701-5720 as we follow the story in St. Vincent and the Grenadines right now. I believe that they said that we have the footage of the incident as hold on, let me see. Okay. This particular clip, I believe, is a clip. Okay. There's not an audible clip, so we don't know exactly what happened. But I was told that in this particular scene, that's where the Prime Minister was somehow injured at that particular point right there. We want to see if we could reconnect with Nikisha to give us some more information. Again, she's on the ground and with all the challenges that she's having right now. Let's try to reconnect and see if you could speak to someone else from Rise Hiruna. Yeah, we're trying to get someone to summarize Haruna. Bear with us, guys. Bear with us. Again, this is a very fluid situation. It just happened just about within the last hour. Information is fresh and coming out. If anyone in the proximity or have any information, you have any video that you want to send to us, you could do it via this number right here on the WhatsApp, 718-701-5720. That's 718-701-5720. You could call in as well. The folks in the general area who have been sending information to us, thanks for that. This is the picture that we received just a little while ago. The Prime Minister was injured. We not sure how severe was the injuries, and I think we got Nylia John, who is the. Let me see if we can get Miss John on the live right now to give us some update on. Miss John, could you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, all right. Stand by, right? Stand by. You're not going to come in with video, right? You're just going to do audio?
Yeah, that's correct.
All right, fine. All right, so Ms. John, please tell us about what transpired here today. I know you run this organization called Rise Haruna, and in the past weeks and months you were involved. The Rise Haruna organized a series of protests. Was this one of these protests? And tell us the reason behind this particular one today.
Um, so we've been protesting for the last 3 months um, in relation to, first, it was the situation of the senator who was involved in, well, she engaged along with two other people, the deputy DPP and also a third party who went onto a man's property, trespassed, and shot a man in his leg. So we started protesting. We wanted her to resign from the House of Parliament. Um, and then, of course, you know that the volcano hit, and people haven't been able to get the necessary supplies from the government entity called NEMO, because they don't support the government and so forth and so on. And now there is where this particular protest, it's in conjunction with other organizations in St. Vincent, the Public Service Union, the Teachers Union, the Police Welfare, and Rise Haruna, along with a group, Justice for All, and we have realized that the government is wanting to mandate the vaccine and not give people the choice. So they actually want to amend legislation where they now have the authority to mandate that vaccine to nurses and teachers and government workers. And so, over the last 3 months, there's been several things that have really come to the forefront, and I think it has gotten to a point of where people are tired and the country's in a dire state. Murder rate is very high. There's one or two murders a week. There's a lack of citizen security, and unemployment. Unemployment is about more than 60%. 60% of the young people are unemployed, and so it's. I think the people are at a point of saying no more.
Yeah. So this protest is unrelated to the series of protests that Rise Haruna organized in the past months, correct?
Well, no. This is, of course, part of what we've been protesting. As I said, we've been protesting for 3 months, and we joined in. Of course, we're the ones that started the protests 3 months ago, and it has gotten to this point where we've now had 2 weeks ago a week ago we had the minibus operators join the protest, and now we've had, as I said, the other organizations, the Public Service Union, and so forth. So we have pushed forward for the last 3 months in protest action. We actually protest every week. Some protests are bigger than some, and so this one, last Thursday it was a good sized protest, but this one is the protest of all protests.
Right. But we saw that okay, hold on. I think we got Nakisha that's back with us here. Let me see if we could get her on. We saw that in the Prime Minister being assaulted. We have a picture up on the screen right now where we're not sure of the severity of how bad he was assaulted, but is that the narrative? I mean, is that what the protest is about? Try to get at the Prime Minister. The goal of the protest, is that the message?
No, definitely. That's not the message. We condone violence. We want people to just exercise their democratic right to protest. But I as one of the founders of Rise Haruna, we condone violence, and we don't. We're not asking any protester to attack the Prime Minister or anyone, the opposition leader, or anyone, as a matter of fact, citizens. It's unfortunate that it has gotten to that point. We've also had where police have attacked protesters. We've had where they've strategically brought trailer trucks and hit protesters and beat up protesters and all this kind of madness. Today, a protester was beaten so badly by a police officer that he was taken
You guys can
to the hospital. Oh, we're having Nikki, but she's in and out.
can
He
you
was
hear
taken
me?
to the hospital. Yeah, we can hear you, but it's in and out. He was taken to the hospital, and then I was told that he was kicked out by the said police. But he's actually back. His head was burst by the police, and so there's been, I think if the police would just allow the people to protest and not push them to a point of them pushing back. But as I said, we condone violence, and what took place today is a very unfortunate. Um, but I expect people to exercise their democratic right, and I think the country is in a dire state, and people have gotten to the point of saying they've had enough.
Yes, yes. Again, we've been following it. We had yourself, we had Kay Bacchus that was also on as well, talking about the situation. But this is, I mean, ultimately, what is the end game for Rise Hiruna? What would you guys like to see come out of the protests and the action that has been taken?
I believe that we want him to retract on um, having the bill passed for the amendment to mandate vaccine. We would also like the senator and the deputy DPP to resign from their positions. And we would like that the three of them who were involved in the shooting incident to be charged for trespassing. They have not been charged for trespassing. And if we can say that it's okay to trespass on someone's property, then we are creating an environment of criminality. And so we do not want that. The society is already in a dire state. As I said, there's a lack of citizen security. We would also like for the third person who was part of the shooting incident to be charged. That individual has not been charged. We would also like to see that the government ensures that regardless of who you support, that you have access to relief. Those in the red zone, many of them have received nothing from the government. They have received no aid. They have received no relief. Many of them are still in shelters. Some of them are in private homes. We would also like for there has been last week we were told that $95 million is unaccounted for. We would like to know where that money went. Did it just disappear? We would like a proper explanation. So there's a number of issues that are at the forefront. Farmers and fisher folk have not received any form of relief. Van operators neither. They have not received any form of relief for COVID. Their demands have not been met. They have been oppressed, and they about 3 months ago they also brought forward to the government some demands. None of those demands have been met. As I said, the country is in a dire state. There's a need. I know that some people are calling on his resignation, that the government needs to call fresh elections. If that's what needs to happen, then let it happen. But the people are under excess pressure, as you can see from the result of the protests today, and it's still going on as we speak.
And all of this is happening under the backdrop of COVID.
That's
Under
right.
the backdrop of, we just had volcanic eruption just a few months ago. People are displaced. How are Vincentian getting by with all of this happening?
Well, that's the problem. They're not. They're unable to feed themselves. They're unable to feed their families. And I mean, I'm able to feed my family. I'm able to feed my child. But there's people in St. Vincent, and the Prime Minister made it very clear to the world that the country is in extreme poverty. But the country is in extreme poverty, and he's living in utmost luxury, him and his ministers of government. I mean, how could you? If I was a prime minister of a nation, I would never do that to my people. I would make sure that they prosper so they can look after their families and let the economy grow. But people are living when someone can go to the shop and say they only have $1 to buy one piece of bread and a piece of cheese and two eggs. You understand me? I mean, this is unacceptable. So people are living day to day. The diaspora has fueled millions and millions of dollars on a yearly basis, $400 million. last year, in 1 year, just to St. Vincent. So the diaspora is keeping the economy in St. Vincent alive, and we're getting tired of it. We have really, I mean, we can't leave our families to suffer. We have provided. There were many organizations, Rise Hiruna. We are still providing relief for people on the ground, and many other organizations in the United States and Canada and England and across the Caribbean region that had to provide. The government has resources, and they are unwilling to help the people. And so when you have hungry people, you're going to have angry people. And that's the reality.
Again, guys, we are following this story. If you just joined us, this is a special report. We just got word that the Prime Minister was injured during a protest there in Kingston, a protest that has been ongoing. This particular protest is over the mandatory vaccination that was somehow changed in Parliament. The people are revolted against it, and one of the things that we're seeing is that mandatory vaccination, not only for St. Vincent, but we're seeing it even here in New York, where they have mandatory vaccination to go into gyms and bars and outlets and all these different things. So it's something that has uh, been kind of pushed on people, and some people are sick or some people have pre-existing condition, and the mandatory vaccination or the vaccination itself is going to affect them negatively. And I think a lot of people are speaking out to that fact that they may not be able to take the vaccine, and what would happen to them if something adverse reaction from the vaccine. So they are speaking out. They're taking to the street right now. It is deemed as pandemonium in the streets of St. Vincent and the Grenadines at the moment. The picture that you're seeing on the screen is a picture that was sent to us earlier. The Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines injured during this protest that was held today. Nadia, what's next for Rise Hiruna and just the whole committee and the movement?
Junior, I just want to make some corrections and make a point, and then I will tell you our way forward. They're in the House right now. I believe they're debating, and the people are outside protesting. I think if the government knows what is best, they will seize on that amendment to the bill. And also, I should.
Okay, we lost audio with Nadia. We try to regain back the audio as soon as she rectify her situation right there. Guys, we open up the phone lines. I want to get your guys' views on this. 718-701-5720, special report from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. This is happening right now. This is a very active situation. We're following it. We have Nikisha, who is also on the ground with some audio problem, but submitted footage for what happened there earlier today. So folks from St. Vincent and the diaspora, I want you guys to call in and let's talk a bit about all of this that has been transpiring over the past couple weeks and months in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. First, we had a situation that sparked the first initial set of protests where a man, Cornelius John, was shot in his leg, and the people have been crying out because they don't feel like he is getting justice on this case. It's alleged that Cornelius John was shot by an individual who is in Parliament, right? And justice is moving slow, and it's something people think is not moving at all. So there have been protests organized by Rise Hiruna to push the force of justice towards getting justice for Mr. Cornelius John, and that's been an ongoing protest. But today we're seeing it took a different turn, and this is what transpired as of recently. Nalia, are you back with us? All right, she's not back as yet, so we'll wait until she come back, and we still have the phone lines open. 718-701-5720. This just happened earlier today, guys. Let's get some audio on this particular.
You're from capital city Kingston. You're pandemonium in the streets.
Caller, you live? Okay, we lost that caller. If you want to call in, the number is 718-701-5720. That's 718-701-5720. Call in live on the air. Again, let's get some audio on this feed.
Kill the big. Report live to you from capital city Kingstown. There is pandemonium in the streets. A crowd has gathered. More persons are there.
Caller, you live? Caller, you live? Where you calling us from? Hello? All right, we're having some phone audio issues. Guys, if you call in, the number that you call direct, or you could call via WhatsApp. The number you call is 718-701-5720. That's 718-701-5720. The same number on the WhatsApp. You could call that number as well on WhatsApp, and you'll get through with us. 718-701-5720. Nalia, are you back with us? All right, we're not able to make connection with her as yet. This is the latest that we have, guys. Again, if you have any footage or if you have any updates, because this is a fluid situation, you could give us a call on this phone line that's on the screen, 718-701-5720. That's 718-701-5720. Let me try to make connection with Nalia, and we'll be right back. Stay tuned.
That simple means say nobody can hold me, man. Nobody can drain my energy. Nobody can show me a stick. I will not allow negativity. Nobody can hold me, man.
All right, so we got Nalia back on the phone with us. She was having some connection problem on the video. So Nalia, yeah, you were saying.
Yeah, so I was saying that, I'm fully vaccinated here in the United States, but it was by choice, so I decided to take that vaccine. I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I'm actually for the vaccine, but I believe that we should have the right to choice. We should have the right to our freedom to say, yes, we want to take this vaccine, or no, we don't want to take it. I believe that one's human rights and constitutional rights, which is your constitution, is the highest law of the land, and that should be respected. Your rights should be respected. And I don't believe that people should be forced to do anything at all. So that's my position, personal position on the situation, in St. Vincent and worldwide. And you were also asking us, what is our way forward? Well, Rise Haruna has stated that we will not cease. We will continue protest until the demands that we have put forward are met. And so we will continue our protests as we have for 3 months, and no stopping until the government has realized that the people are saying they've had enough. And we want the senator to resign. We want the trespassing charges to be laid against the 3 individuals. We want the 3rd person to be charged in the shooting of Mr. Cornelius John. We want for equal distribution of resources for those who been affected by the volcanic eruption. We also want accountability of $95 million that's missing. The government is unable to account for that money. We want for people to have the right to choice, that vaccines should not be mandated and people should not be fired for taking, if they don't want to take the vaccine. The country is already in a dire state. There are no jobs. If they're fired, we're going to be even in more extreme poverty, as stated by the Prime Minister of the country. We condone violence. We're asking people to not be violent. However, we will continue protests moving forward.
Okay, all right. And we're going to close it off here because we have an obligation coming up at, well, actually a little bit at the bottom of the hour. Any other words you want to reach out there to the Vincentian population and the Caribbean, wider Caribbean population that's watching?
Right. I want people to know what's happening in St. Vincent. I know that sometimes things are concentrated. I want the Vincentians to know that it's their democratic right to protest and without fear of being victimized. I also want people to understand that we will not cease protesting until the government meets the demands of the people. And I would like everyone to to protest, but we condone violence as an organization, and we are pushing full steam ahead.
Right, right. All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much. We appreciate that, and we're going to take a few calls. But Nalia, we appreciate you, and if I will call you back for more updates, okay?
Okay, thank you so much, Junior.
All right,
I appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Caller, you live right along. Go ahead. Where you calling us from?
Barbuda.
Barbados. Go right ahead, Barbados.
Barbuda.
Go right ahead.
Barbuda.
Barbuda, sorry. Go right ahead, Barbuda.
The topic is tonight on St. Vincent and protesting.
Yeah, we're monitoring what's happening in St. Vincent and the Grenadines right now.
But one question, a lot, okay, people against taking the vaccine and stuff like that, but people have to also realize that the COVID-19, it's real. It's not a plaything. So when you're trying to, well, I see the Prime Minister, whatever, he's trying his best maybe to protect his citizens from the COVID, and people are headstrong, don't want to take the vaccine. I mean, you don't take the vaccine, and next thing you open up your economy to tourism and everything like that. And what do you think is going to happen? People are going to get sick. People are going to be in the hospital. I mean, the other part of it, yes, it's trying his best. People saying it's not mandatory, but you have to look at the fact. Look, we have our kids going forward. We need to protect our kids. We need to protect our future generation, because the kids are our future generations. We don't go through life. We don't get our knockouts in life, but our children are the future generations, and you need to protect them. I mean, you have to protect yourself so you can protect them. We cannot be doing these things and saying, okay, fighting against getting vaccinated. I mean, vaccines were there from on the onset, since way back when. I mean, sometimes when you have to travel to different countries, if you know have vaccine, take the vaccine, you cannot travel to different countries. And those days, in the vaccine, what is this? You know, a lot of people, look at things like, okay, because the vaccine was developed quick, and they say it's emergency use. That's what they say, because it's a pandemic, it's an emergency use. So you don't, they look at it as, okay, if you don't take it, the vaccine, because it's emergency stuff to help, you will still get COVID yourself to take the vaccine. You can still contract COVID, but in that way you will not die. You might hospitalize because it have a few cases that break through. You might have that. But what I'm saying, we need to do something, because if you continue like that, maybe the whole world or the whole Caribbean is going to wipe out with those.
Well, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question, caller, because that is a question. That is something that has been talked about all over the world, even in New York here, where they recently started to mandate vaccines for gyms and for entertainment and all these things there. Do you think that it has to do with education, and first educating the people on the need for the vaccine than to mandate the vaccine to everyone? Because a lot of people are not taking it, not because they don't want to take it, is because they don't know or they don't understand the positive or negative effect of the vaccine. So there's very little education. Do you think that that's supposed to be the first thing that that the government or governments of the Caribbean and the wider world, for that matter, should do?
Yes, they should have. You should have like the doctors from the country, the doctors and the nurses, and people like in the people in the what do you call it, that deals with those things. they're supposed to be. I mean,
Yeah. Okay, we're kind of having signal issues with the caller. Again, guys, if you want to participate in the conversation, 718-701-5720. And that is a question that everyone is facing right now, right?
Yeah, sorry, sorry about that.
Yeah, go ahead. You were saying.
Yeah. When you look at the stuff, the fact that the matter is okay. This is a pandemic that since over 100 and something years we haven't got something like that, and because the way it spread around the world. Remember, nowadays people travel to any country anywhere in the world in a matter of hours. Before time, it take them weeks and months before they could go wherever they need to go. And now anything that's happened anywhere is instant all over the world.
Right.
So the virus gets to spread at a rapid pace where people wasn't prepared. They took it like, okay, it's like the swine flu and the other flus that they didn't really get foot grip like how we get hand grip, like how this COVID get hand grip on everybody all over the world. It crippled the whole world economy.
Right.
A lot of countries want to get back on their 2 feet. Right now, everybody on their knees. And when you're demonstrating and protesting against those things and say, oh, you don't want the vaccine because you don't, I mean, they need to have an education drive to teach people. Say,
well, yeah, that's what I was saying. That should probably come first, and have doctors, and medical professionals, speak to the patients about the benefits of the vaccine, because that's how I was convinced. I took the vaccine. I was convinced after I spoke to my doctor. But Carl, we have somebody on the next line, so let me take that other call. But thanks for your input. We appreciate you so much. All right, thank you so much. 718-701-5720. We got another call on the line. Caller, where are you calling us from?
I'm calling from Tatola.
Tatola, go right ahead.
Yeah, no, I am a Vincentian, and I was listening to what the lady from the SVG thing who involved in this protest was saying, right?
Right.
This is not all about no vaccine, it's all about power for me. That is how I look at it. Now, 2 weeks ago, before we have the outbreak in Tatola, we have that same incident where people was on the radio station telling people not to take the vaccine and what not to do. And just a week after now, we get an outbreak where everybody start to fall dead. Hospital being full, which we have to tell the government have to put up something, say you mustn't come to the hospital because of the situation, right? Now I am begging Vincent and also my children and them, I already talked to them. Don't follow those ignorance and have to fall in the same situation we are paying to now. Because we can't even get to mobilize ourselves. Work is closing. We can't get to go here as we should. Up to today, I know come out the cemetery before, like an hour ago, because I assisted my brother in helping them with the grave for his mother. And it's only 25 people may be allowed to them funeral, which we're not even sure how it's going to happen as yet. So I'm begging Vincent Chan, don't follow those people. They're only trying to protest for power. It's not about they don't care about people. I think the education is so much out there that everybody should have done hear about this thing and education enough to know.
Yeah, no, Caller, you're right. But here's my point, right? Here's my point. Here's my point about the education part of it, right? You have doctors and nurses who doesn't make up the fully vaccinated population, right? Now your first engagement as a medical to the medical to any kind of medical facility is to talk to a nurse or doctor. Now if the nurse and the doctor is not even advising or telling you shouldn't take the vaccine, you wouldn't want to take it because you say, well, your doctor advised you not to take it. So the doctor, the power should be put in the hands of the medical professionals and let they sell the vaccine. Let they talk to the patients about the vaccine.
Yeah, but my point I am making, right, is right now, all over the world is full of divided by politics. Right?
Yeah.
So that will always happen. Though even self God come down and even say take it. And the protesters, them, especially like them NDP people protesting, the higher powers in the NDP decide to tell you not to take it, the NDP people will follow.
Right.
The same way as the Labour people, that is going to happen. But all I am saying to Vincent Chan, forget about politics, whether NDP or Labour, and do the right thing. Don't make it happen like what happened up here to us right now. Right now, we start to get it under control because a lot of people, after people start to die, went and start to take the vaccine like crazy. So it start to drop, with death and them start to drop a little. People start to get more, wise up. People stop going to crowds and things up here right now. Right now, we under a kind of lockdown because from 6 o'clock, 6:30, you have to come off the road.
Right. Right.
So all I am begging, Sunshine, is just to do. I listen to that lady, What you hear she telling you there is nothing about no vaccine and cares about Vincent Chan. It's all about power she looking at. It's power they looking at.
Okay.
Power.
The other thing, caller.
And they're trying to get Vincent Chan, follow them, and who the illiterate one dead. Then they dead too.
Okay.
Okay, right.
Let me ask you this, and other Vincent Chan could chime in as well on this, right? I remember, and it wasn't very long ago, when St. Vincent election was called, and we have the same Prime Minister that I remember. He was basically making a mockery of mask and the COVID, and he was very nonchalant about the whole thing. They was having, they had election, and they was having, campaign, full campaign mode, people all over, full campaign. And that was to benefit the government at this point in time. So how now do you change the mentality of the people? If you yourself was like almost like you really didn't care. I remember one time the Prime Minister of Grenada made mention of something he said about the curfew that Grenada was having. But St. Vincent was never under curfew. He was like, so what? We're going to do it. So COVID is not tsunami. Okay. And he was kind of making like a mockery of the thing,
Yeah, okay, let me answer your point on that. At that point in time, right, we did not have several variants, right?
Yeah.
Which it was still, I didn't support it in that way. But not him alone was doing it. The both party was doing it because I was watching the election thing from up here. Now, yes, he was doing that. But then now it comes to the point where we had strong variants and he started to get more understandable about the thing, right? You have to understand it would have happened even self the same party, the opposition. If them was in power, it would have been the same. Now, for instance, look what happened to America. Look what happened to America. In order from the states, some the people and them in the states, right? The governors and them. Decide that they laugh after the mask thing. They decide to tell people don't wear mask. Now they're bringing back the mask mandate.
Yeah.
Because we have a stronger variant now and the world start to see.
Yeah, but it's hard to change. It's hard to change
the world start to see the variants and them.
It's hard to
which
change.
I believe. I am not a professional doctor, but which I believe that thing that hit we up here is one of the variants.
Right.
Because a lot of people get COVID before. My son in St. Vincent, he had COVID, but he is a deep sickle cell person. But then I give him some medicine which would do some advice and he break out of it.
Right.
But this one here now, if it was up here and he get this one, he wouldn't get out of it. Don't care where I try.
Yeah. Well, let me say this.
Because quick relative, I tell you, close relative to me, somebody who close to me, is just this Saturday. The person taken, and by the Sunday by time the hospital, the Monday the news come back, she couldn't make it.
Right. Now listen to this. I had COVID, right? I had COVID, and I went through the whole process. I probably didn't have it as bad as a lot of people. I survived it. I recovered it. I didn't have any long-term effects of COVID. Well, at least I don't know yet, right? And I also took the vaccine. So I am not in any way anti-vaxxer. I am not in any way. But I remember from the beginning, from the minute time the first variant came in, I was so strict. I was talking to my kids about the new practices and what we should do. I used to wash the fruits. I used to make sure everybody leave their shoes outside. Understanding as to change the practice. But what I saw earlier in the game from St. Vincent and the Grenadines in particular, this government, right, is that their approach to the vaccine to their supporters during the election was like, it is not a serious thing. The Prime Minister certainly didn't, to me, it didn't seem as if the Prime Minister took it as a very, very serious thing that people should take serious. So people took that, and to change their minds now, it's kind of difficult. To make a 360
No.
difficult.
I know. Explain something to you. Don't blame the Prime Minister alone.
Right.
Don't blame him alone. All over was doing it. All up here we was doing it. But then after the variant hit now, everybody changed.
Right.
That is why I explaining to you. 2 weeks before we have the variant, right?
Yeah.
We have a radio station down Patola was protesting, signing petition that people mustn't take the vaccine. Some places up say this side was okay. If you're not vaccinated, you will not come to work. Now they start to protest. They had this thing, and then after the variant hit us, what happened?
Yeah, but no, I'm talking about
1 week.
I don't want to.
1 week.
I don't want.
In 1 week, we have 400 and somebody went to take the vaccine.
Yeah, but that was after the election. That was after the election. During that time, other countries was under lockdown. I remember Grenada was under lockdown. Other countries was under lockdown.
We was under lockdown too.
Yeah, but that wasn't at that point in time. The sense that I got from speaking to my friends.
No, I am not in St. Vincent.
Right. Well, no, I spoke to a lot of people in St. Vincent. At the time, the sense that they got was
no,
like, yo.
I am telling you, at that time when St. Vincent was open, we was locked down up here.
Okay. All right.
I'm not talking, right, where I'm calling from is not St. Vincent.
Right.
I am Tatola.
Right. Okay. All right.
But I just only trying to share something to the Vincentian public from what happening to us up here for what I see they doing home.
Right. Okay. Point taken, caller. I appreciate your input on this. Thanks again.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right. 718-701-5720. We're talking about what happened and what transpired in St. Vincent and the Grenadines as of earlier today. We got reports that the Prime Minister, pictures as well circulating on the internet, that the Prime Minister was somehow attacked. This is a picture that's circulating. It's alleged that he got hit in the head by a stone at bust his head. And during the protest, we had some videos that showed somehow how it happened. We don't know the current condition of the Prime Minister. He seems conscious in this picture, so we're hoping and praying that everything goes well. Listen, I don't care how bad it is, if you're a supporter or not. I don't support or condone this type of violence, especially against, this type of violence, period, right? We don't condone this type of violence, but we understand that people are upset. We do believe that there are other ways to deal with this situation right here. This reminds me of something that happened when I saw it earlier. This reminds me of something that just happened over by in Haiti side. And I think that there need to be some sort of middle ground where we could solve our issues. There have to be some kind of middle ground. And these type of violence, we are in the Caribbean, we're not known for this type of things, we are not known for these type of things. And it's sad to see this happen right in our backyard. So let's get your point on it, guys. 718-701-5720. And earlier I was also saying about the vaccine and how I think that what was supposed to be done first, it looked as if it's been done last. I think that there should be a lot of energy placed in educating the population about the vaccine. When I made the decision to get the vaccine, it was my doctor who told me that it was a good idea that I get the vaccine. Right? I was informed about, the effects, the good, the bad, the ugly about it, and I weighed the pros and the cons, and I decided I'll go ahead and I'll take the vaccine, and I did. Right? And that was my decision. But that was after I consulted my doctor. So I was educated. So education on the vaccine is supposed to come first. Forcing vaccine without education, people would just push back. You can't do it. It's not going to work. Let's jump on the call. We got a caller on the line. Caller, you're live. Where are you calling us from?
Hi, good evening. Dr. John here from St. Vincent and Grenadines.
Dr. John, how are you doing, sir? Go right ahead.
I am great. Thank you for entertaining this issue this evening. But I'm hearing some comments here coming up that I don't think that people really understand what is happening on the ground in St. Vincent. You have a situation where, as you did rightfully say, you had the COVID. I remember when I saw the first case of COVID in the United States and the speed that it escalated at within a week and 2 weeks, I said to myself, boy, if this ever gets into the Caribbean, we can have problems.
Yeah.
Then you saw like these leaders, some of them were making a lot of mock sport, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
I remember it was Christmas Eve day when Dr. Chief Mitchell,
Okay. We lost your connection there, Ashley. All right, let's see if we could regain connection there.
Still here.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Right. I was just making a point before, this guy was trying to get home to Grenada and he could not come home because of the ruling that Dr. Mitchell made. Now,
right.
That was made a big mockery in St. Vincent. When he said that if COVID is Nicodemus, if it can come in the night, if it is only coming in the night. So in that time, they had a lot of Vincentians laughing and agreeing with him because he's Prime Minister.
Right. Yeah.
So they didn't take it serious. When the very people that are protesting now, they were screaming and shouting, shut the island down for a period of time, close the borders and so on. They said, no, they're not doing it. Mm-hmm. It is carelessness that made this thing got away in St. Vincent. Careless handling of this American flight and so on that came into the island, right? Now, you can't come at this stage now and you want to force people to take a vaccine. Not only that, we're talking about a country that just been reporting that under extreme poverty. St. Vincent went through a series of issues. You got dengue that had so many deaths. After dengue, people went right into COVID. During COVID, we had the volcano eruption, right? People are still displaced from the eruption even now as we speak. You're going to come and tell these same people that if you do not take this vaccine, you're going to lose your job. These is people, public servants and private workers who mortgage homes, who are the only breadwinners sometimes in the family. St. Vincent has some of the lowest salaries in the Caribbean, right? And you're going to tell these same people, look, if you do not take this vaccine, we are going to, you're going to lose your job. Not only that, this was a Prime Minister telling business people, man, go ahead and fire people. This is unprecedented, Mr. George. You don't see this kind of stuff. I read the document by the ILO, right? Mm-hmm. Which is the International Labour Organization. They had this discussion on COVID. And what they said was this, that while the employer and the government had a right to protect people in the workspace and so on, it should not be done by force. What should happen, there should be discussions, right?
Yeah.
To see what is the best method in dealing with COVID. Here in St. Vincent, there were no discussions or nothing. They just decide what they are going to do without telling us. They may say, well, let me address the nation, like Dr. Mitchell addressed the nation all the time. You can hardly even get information here to know what's going on. Plus, you got so many other atrocities going on in this island. So many. And when I hear these people talk about, oh, this is a power thing, it is riled me. And you know this, Mr. George, that I've been fighting in St. Vincent for violence against women and children for many years. You would listen to our parliament and you would never hear them mention a single word about violence against women and children. Last night, a young man was killed here by stab wound. I ain't hear that mentioned a note in Parliament this morning as a concern. I am not condoning what happened to the Prime Minister, right? But if we are going to be realistic here, right, and honest, right, what I saw on the video, right, was that he came out of his vehicle and he had this extra security escort, right? That is the video that you had up.
Yeah.
And to me, they were looking on at this video, right? It looked like he was saying to intentions, listen, I am not scared at all. I am a bad John, right? And I going through that crowd walking. He has so many police and all kind of stuff there. And this is something that he does all the time, George. Anytime a protest is going on in St. Vincent, he would not say as Prime Minister, let me listen to the concerns of the people. He will come out in the protest, he will roll down his window, and he will be shaking at the people and making a mockery at the people. Come on, there's at some point that the people are going to get angry. The people can say that enough is enough. And today was that day in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I believe a lot of people were talking about is the NDP power thing. Look, George, the NDP was protesting now in 20 years, and they could not get a good crowd come out. You see, when these people went to mess around with people's livelihood, that is why these people came out today here. These people came out because they will not allow anyone to trample on their livelihood, to take the jobs from them because they don't want to take the vaccine by force. Some people just want to know more about the vaccine. Some people want to see what is happening to other people before they decide to take it because of all the different news that coming out. You understand what I'm saying? People are confused, right? As you rightfully said, you got a Prime Minister making mockery 1 minute and he come back and he's serious in the next. Who would ever take a leader like that serious to influence people to really get them to do something?
Yeah.
We got to look at these things realistically, right? I saw a lot of things today. The people were there protesting 2 weeks ago peacefully, right? They just started to bad beat these people like that. They wasn't doing no kind of violence at all. They just started to rough up the people, and the videos are there to show it.
Yeah.
Right? They were peaceful all along. It is how they start to treat the people. Today, when I was watching the videos, the people were there protesting. They had the drums, they had whatever. They weren't violent, right? It is when you start, inside these people, what I saw with my eyes. When the people start to see these red police coming onto the street with all of these shields and all of that, right? And the way that they were behaving aggressive towards the people. Some people started to say, look, if you all hit me today, we ain't taking it,
Right.
Because we standing up for our rights. We were not here troubling nobody. We ain't burning the buildings. We ain't doing nothing wrong. It is the intimidation that incite what happened there this afternoon. While it is unfortunate, right? We as a people have to understand that there's human beings you're dealing with. And enough does become enough at some point. And this is what's boiling in the Caribbean too, right? These governments all of a sudden think that they own us and they can do whatever they feel like, when they feel like. They will not have any consultations with us. They're not listening to our concerns. They can just go in Parliament and make whatever rule they feel like, and we have to go along with it. We got a lot of things happening in St. Vincent. I don't want to repeat it, but we just had a report last week that the Auditor General is saying that over $95 million is unaccounted for from our government spending. No one wants to give an account for it. You got people here that got to be begging for food and begging for a place to live. You honestly think that people like that can stay cool all the time? Let me be real. I think we are fortunate, right? That the Vincentians behave very civil today. That they did not take down the whole of Kingston because of their frustration. And I have been here. I have walked the streets. I work in the community with these people. These people have been venting for a very long time, and they kept civil. You understand? They kept civil. And I'm not going to come here this evening and talk about this as a power issue. The people are fed up now. Right. The people feel like they're back against the wall. The people can lose. You got people that don't know if they can keep the homes. And we know this already. When people lose the income, the bank and take the home. Right? You got people that got families. I was a responder, George, not the chief of the program, in the 2013 floods, right? And I tell you, I see big men cry, ball on my shoulders, ball, and say to me, I don't know what I can tell my wife. I don't know what I can tell my children. The house that I worked hard for all my years, just gone like that. This is what Vincentians are facing. You understand?
Yes.
Right? This is what we are facing. And the people are fed up of the way that he's running this country. he behaves in this country like he don't have to listen to you, and he can do us as he like. And he came back last week and he said, "Oh, he's not changing it he's not going to change it to mandatory." Then he come back and send out another document this week now saying that it is going to be mandatory. Vaccinations are not fools, right? Vincent, human beings, this could happen to any part of the world. We're talking about St. Vincent. Look at South Africa, right? And see what happened in South Africa. When people are fed up, they are fed up. And people will fight with it all for the survival.
Yeah.
That is all I want to say.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ashley. We appreciate your input on this topic right here. 718-701-5720, guys. We're working the story and following the story from all ends. We had a team. Someone from Rise Haruna was feeding us some live video from on the ground in St. Vincent. We wasn't getting very good audio. She was at the middle of the protest. But what really transpired is this protest earlier today, and we got pictures, we got images where the Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Rav Gonzalez, was injured, allegedly by a rock or stone. And those are the pictures, those are the images right there. These conversations about the vaccine in particular need to be escalated. I think that there need to be more engagement with community and the authorities so people could understand. And also, one of the problems when we speak to people around the region, what they're saying is that they don't have no problem with taking the vaccine. A lot of people are just having a problem taking a particular vaccine, which is the AstraZeneca. Now, what we did, I went on the Facebook page, not the Facebook page, the government information page on St. Vincent and the Grenadines, because I'm going to be traveling there within the next few weeks. And I saw that they are the Sputnik 5, the Russian vaccine, that's going to be on they're going to be providing that vaccine in St. Vincent and the Grenadines within the next couple of weeks or so. I just wanted to know if people would change their tone if there were more variety of vaccines on the island, as people are saying in Grenada, that they're saying that, you know, we'll take the vaccine if we had the Cuban vaccine. They'll take the vaccine if they had the Cuban vaccine, the Moderna, the Pfizer, and other vaccine. But they're just scared of taking the vaccine because of what they're hearing about the AstraZeneca. Would that change the mindset of Vincentians if there were more options of vaccines available on the island? So we're going to take a few more calls and then we're going to wrap it up again. The number 718-701-5720. Talking about what transpired today and also about vaccine. I was also saying earlier that I took the vaccine, and I took the vaccine because my family took the vaccine because I believe that we were educated on the benefits of taking the vaccine. And on top of that too is the reality that we live in, right? I was continuously seeing dead people in cold storage trucks in hospitals not too far from where I live. And that was our reality. You know, a lot of people in the Caribbean, and we speak to people in Grenada as well, that wasn't their reality, right? They were not this big spike of COVID on the island, and there were one death. One death is bad enough, but there were one death on the island, and there were no big clusters. So a lot of people like, why would I want to take the vaccine? You know, because people had it, people recovered, stand a better chance of recovering than with the vaccine. That's what they're saying. And I'm getting this similar kind of synergy from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. But I want to get your voice on this, guys. 718-701-5720 on Vincentians to speak to me and tell me what your thoughts about it. In particular, one thing, are you more comfortable taking the vaccine if there are a variety of options available to you? Are you more comfortable of taking the vaccine if there are, you know, these options, and also coupled with more education? Are you more comfortable in taking the vaccine if those things are available? Caller, where are you calling us from?
I'm calling from New York.
Go right ahead, caller.
Good evening. A very, very interesting program this evening. You brought it up again about the vaccine. When we hear about the vaccine, some of us get so mad because we are we were told so many lies before the vaccine, all the different conspiracy. We were told that we were going to make different heads. We were told that we were going to die after 2 years. We were told so much different things. What I want to tell persons is that this vaccine is not as a regular one, but it is so unique. The vaccine has something called the mRNA. The mRNA is like a
mRNA.
Spike protein. Yes, it's a spike protein which replicates to find or recognize the virus whenever it enters the body, and what it does, it fights off the virus, killing it, not causing us to get that sick. Right? And mRNA is something that was developed years ago as well. So there's nothing that extra new about it. So I'm not sure why persons are that resentful or resistant about taking the COVID vaccine.
Well, the reason why a lot of people are resistant about it is that there are a lot of misinformation that is circulating. And sometimes the misinformation comes out. Yeah, the misinformation comes from the same place where the information comes out sometimes. So you don't know what to believe. You're hearing leaders saying something that contradicts the whole story. So people are confused.
Yeah, but we cannot put politics in a coffin, but definitely human beings can go into a coffin. And the propaganda that has been spread all over the Caribbean, all over the world, is more political something. We know who was behind. Trump was behind it a big time. What did he do? He went around while he was in one mouth saying is a conflu, is a this, that. He went around and he took it. He was one of the first person to take it.
Right.
Build his immune system, and he was out there with everybody else, grinning and laughing and kissing persons in the crowd. Some persons are just, I think they're just shame. Because they say so much, they join with people to say so much things, and when it's time to go out and take the vaccine, doesn't want anybody to ask them any question. Are you vaccinated?
Right.
They will tell you. Some people will refuse to answer you. Some people will be very resistant. And it's because of shame, because of the lies. Some people are so dishonest. That's the reason why they don't even want to be asked about it, or they would not speak the truth about it, and they continue to push the conspiracy theory while they are vaccinated. I might be vaccinated, and then what I do, when you ask me, Junior, what I would say is, I'm not believing this thing, I'm not taking it, and whatever, all the whole rigmarole behind it.
Right.
Persons are so dishonest in this world, and we live in a world where persons are going to stab you even in your face. We know that for reality, and that is what is going on. That's what the COVID should teach us.
Right.
When we go into the next life, we will be getting stabbed behind our backs. So people should wake up and do this thing for themselves to protect others. The persons who are unvaccinated, those are the ones now at risk, because the persons who are vaccinated can become silent carriers.
Yeah.
And when they go home, they can transmit this virus, not knowing they've become something like the asymptomatic persons. And they're the ones that are going to kill their children, persons who cannot be vaccinated because of medical reasons, or the elderly who are still resistant because of the lies and conspiracy theory they have been fed by the younger population or even the media.
Yeah.
Social media had a big part to play with this whole thing, you know.
Yeah, well, social media continues to have a very bad. There are about 12 people. There are about 12 people that they deem that presents over 60 or 80% of the misinformation that is circulating on social media, right? But I think that what governments and what administrations need to do, right, is to battle that or contest that with the facts, with information, relevant information. I want to play back a video real quick, right? This is the embattled governor of New York. That's Cuomo. He made a statement as to mandating vaccine. Take a listen.
President Biden is reported that he's going to announce soon that all federal employees must be vaccinated or get tested. New York State is doing the same. And we're working with our unions to implement this quickly and fairly. But we want to get it done by Labor Day. And I encourage all local governments to do the same. It's smart, it's fair, it's in everyone's interest. But we have to go further. And New York led the nation in going down the path that made the most sense, even though it is hard. And this has been the frustration for this country from the beginning. Politicians don't like to suggest actions that are not popular. A politician who suggests too many unpopular options is not a long-term politician. But there's a choice of doing the political thing or doing the right thing. And I've always chosen to do the right thing. And I believe ultimately that is even the best politics. But I think we have to go further here. I think we need dramatic action to get control of this situation.
Right. So basically what Como is saying right here is not a popular thing.
Correct.
It's not a popular thing for politicians to push, right? But you can't talk on two sides of your mouth. One thing, I mean, he's in battle, he's going through his stuff right now. But one thing I like about Como during this whole process of COVID is that he would come on every day and he would present the facts. Whether you like it or whether you don't like it, he present the facts. And
well, apart from what he's saying, that's one of the reasons why people are trying to get rid of him now.
Yeah,
because
I mean, that's a whole...
That would definitely take the trigger or would do something to hurt persons who are out there trying to spread the good message.
Right.
Telling them about the good effect of taking the vaccine.
Right. But I come back to my original point, right? I come back to my original point. I think that the vaccine is a way out of this crisis, right? I think, but although people might say, okay, there are other ways that you could boost your immune system, which I endorse. I think that people should boost their immune system. I think that is very, very important. But if you look at many other major viruses that affected the world, it was eradicated because of vaccines. The fever and all that, yeah. But at the same time, there were social media wasn't so ripe where there's so much misinformation and fake news and everybody has there was not all this information circulating to contradict itself. And also, I think there was better leadership. I think the leadership now is playing a part in the misinformation because they're speaking from the same mouth with the information and the misinformation. Case in point, St. Vincent and the Grenadines Prime Minister, as I said it earlier.
Dr. Mitchell would love to get the speech of Andrew Cuomo to play at the next election rally because we know how it has been on the Grenada side, and I have been trying to convince persons from this side to let them know what is contained and the importance of vaccines. Some persons are not afraid of needles, but the misinformation they're not afraid of, which is very dangerous.
Yeah.
Which is going to cost them their lives. And still made a point, and to be honest with you, he could be right if they doesn't go down the right path. And if things happen, I'm not sure what the Grenadian people would say. They need to think open, out of the box, and look at it in their own personal way. You're protecting yourself and your family. It has nothing to do with the political figure in office. They would have done a lot of misinformation. They would have said so much. They would have more or less muzzled or tried to trick people in a particular way because they themselves do not have the information most of the time.
Right. Caller, thank you so much.
In our case in Grenada, I think they do not even have some of the information that they need to. There was too rushed. They rushed too much stuff on people too quickly instead of taking a sit back and strategizing and making sure that the right kind of information is being disseminated in the right way to people too.
Right.
But still, people like you and me and others who are educated about it and who have taken their little shot and are living, and if God forbid something were to come its way, we know that we are protected by immunity with the mRNA, which is already there, which is going to perform that miracle to get rid of the virus. Have to continue pushing the right information to people.
Right. There are some clarifications that need to be made with your statement, but that's fine. Caller, thank you so much. We appreciate you. All right.
You're welcome.
What we're hearing And what we have been hearing is that the vaccines are not gonna inoculate you forever. In fact, I got some information earlier today that state that the Moderna, right, people who took the Moderna vaccine would most likely have to get a booster shot in the fall for the summer, right? And that just came through earlier today. I want you guys to look closely at that. So it's not a forever, you get the vaccine and you are all set forever. What I do understand about the vaccine, which is important to me and my family, is that at least if you catch or got in contact with COVID at this point in time, it may not be as severe. So to the point of Angie Rennie saying, why should you take a vaccine that doesn't provide COVID immunity? A full vaccinated person just tested positive for COVID in Grenada. How many unvaccinated people recovered from COVID versus those who die? I'm not hearing about that. Very good point, right? Very good point. To your first part, why should I take the vaccine that doesn't provide COVID immunity? And I'm no doctor, so I don't want you to take me as take this as any kind of medical advice. I think why people should take the vaccine, and that is just my understanding, right? Is that it provide that if you were to come in contact with with COVID, it may not be as harsh, right, on your system. That's what I understand from it. For the summer I was breathing a sigh of relief because again I had COVID. I went through it. I saw how difficult it could be, and I didn't have it as bad as other people. But I just felt like I just had some kind of, I don't know. I felt like I had a little bit of more protection, so that if I came in contact with it again, my symptoms wouldn't be as dramatic. 90-something%, and that is facts as far as what's posted. 90-something% of the people that are hospitalized right now and intubated, right, are unvaccinated people. And a lot of people who are in the ICU right now are unvaccinated people. So that tells me that it's probably a good idea. But again, that's a decision for individuals to make. It shouldn't be mandated. Back to the original topic at hand. So that's the first part of the question. Why you should take it. I advise my family to take it. My kids to take it. I took it, and I'm doing fine. And I work in a high level exposure category. I am always out streaming stuff. I'm in funerals where everybody's crying and everybody's hugging, and I'm there. I'm amongst those type. And I've seen people stand over the grave of their loved ones and said that, and some of them died from COVID. And they said that if there was anything that I could have done, I would have done it. And I'm sure if even if taking the vaccine was something that they could have done to save their life, they would have done it. Because nobody wants to be there and thinking about all the things you could have done and you didn't do. Again, it's a personal decision. So let me bring it back, wheel it back a little bit to the question of mandating vaccines. I don't think that mandating vaccine is the way to go, but I believe that it is the way it will go. It is the way for Caribbean economies, and I believe that the pressure is not only from the Caribbean, the leaders. It's coming from further than that. I believe that with the U.S. now, right, saying that in order to come to the U.S., you have to be fully vaccinated. Think about the pressure. What about when they start to say, well, before a JetBlue or airline or American airline or whatever have to go into those smaller territories or into the smaller areas, they have to go in. The government have to have measures to protect the staff, so they have to be fully vaccinated. They have to be vaccinated entry. Then what would happen? Those governments, those prime ministers, those leaders would be forced to enact legislation And I think that is coming from that point of view. They are being placed between a rock and a hard place, if you really think about it like that. But let me get your calls on this, guys. 718-701-5720. Let's talk about it. I went way over time, by the way. Way over time. 5 more minutes and we're done. So we're going to take a last call. 718-701-5720. I remember at one point in time as well, right? There was this talk of when there was this putting this chip in the in your debit card, and people were saying, "Nah, they ain't getting involved in that. They don't want no chip, but they don't want no chip." All of a sudden, they changed the whole way of debit card. No, not even swipe. Every debit card now have chip, and everybody is just using the chip in their debit card, right? Even people that never wanted to use it, there's even a chip in your passport if they use it. So I think there comes a time when the new normal that we're looking at would be vaccinated entry. Is either you decide not to get vaccinated and go nowhere, or get vaccinated to just conduct your regular day activities. And that's what is happening here in the US. To go to the gym, you need to be vaccinated. Let's take this call on the line. Caller, where are you calling us from?
Yeah, good evening. The caller that called a couple callers back and was saying that the government, people have not taken the vaccine because the government make it mandatory and they will get, they wouldn't be able to pay their mortgage and stuff like that. But you don't take the vaccine, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's going to happen after and you get COVID and you die? Who's going to pay the mortgage?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
You understand me? So it's a choice you have to protect yourself and your family. That is what we have. And you have to be a smart thinking person, not having somebody thinking for you. You looking at saying, well, oh, you don't want to take the vaccine because all those negative concepts. I mean, come on. Everybody have phone, everybody have internet, everybody see what's going on around the world. Even in India, they're burning bodies. People don't even get time to say goodbye to their loved ones. You know what I mean? Do we want that in the Caribbean? Do we want that we cannot go and say goodbye to our loved ones? We cannot travel. I mean, all the different Caribbean countries, we have family in all the different. We might have a father from this place, a mother from that place, and we need to travel to. So if something like that happens, and we cannot say goodbye, come and part in the funeral service and stuff like that because of other people that think, well, hey, they don't care. As long as they get what they want, they don't care about other people. I mean, look at this. I mean, we need to. I mean, the vaccine is the way to go because even in the British Virgin Islands, and they were up with numbers and they started to vaccinate it, everything starts to come down. Even in America, when they started first, it started to come down. But when they stopped, people say, no, this and that, it started going back up. And this is what a lot of people need to do. They look at the positive facts. Look at what could have happened in the Caribbean. Because the amount of people that die in India, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you look at the population of the Caribbean, that could be the whole Caribbean wipe out.
Yeah, you're right. And as I was saying, caller, I believe that the governments, just like how when they sneeze in America, they catch a cold in the Caribbean, the governments of this region would have almost no choice. Whether they want, they will have no choice because they don't have no international airline in the Caribbean, and they have to come to America. America is one of the biggest trading partners. If America decide not to trade with the Caribbean, the other Caribbean, what happens to the economy, right? So it will come to a point that I believe, because they just announced that in order to come into the US, you have to be fully vaccinated. In order to come into the US, you have to be fully vaccinated. And I think it's a progression. It's a progression of what is to come. It would get worse.
Because it will get worse. It's going to get worse. It's not a matter of it's going to get worse if we don't vaccinate and get this under control. Because a lot of people from America want to come to the Caribbean to enjoy, a little freedom, a little stuff. And when they look at the stats and say, okay, this country has a high rate of COVID, they go to when America mark you and say, hey, you a red zone, danger, no go there. You won't able to travel to that country. Yeah. So if we in the Caribbean put our heads together, everybody think, positive and say, okay, let us try to get our numbers down. Let us try to get people to vaccinate it, the doctors, the nurses, everybody, come and explain to people. This is what, show people the different, we could show people what happened to India, how, and those places they see how they have to be burning bodies. They don't bury you, they just put you and burn you like dog or something like that, a dog on the street like a dead animal.
I've seen that.
I mean, this is what we want. This is what we want in the Caribbean.
No, and the funny thing about it is, again, I think that there are a lot of people in the Caribbean that is not anti-vaxxer. They're not against vaccine. A lot of people are upset that the choices, they don't have these options, and they're hearing a lot of things about one particular vaccine that they don't favor. They're saying, okay, so why America didn't authorize AstraZeneca, but the Caribbean has AstraZeneca. America have Pfizer and Moderna and Johnson and Johnson. The Caribbean doesn't have it. So they think, a lot of people think now they are getting the butt end of the vaccine that everybody else don't want. And you cannot say that they're wrong for feeling that way.
No, but they have to also look at, they have the Western world and they have the Eastern. They have Europe, all those places. In there, England use the AstraZeneca. France, Germany, all those countries up there, that is what they use, and they're not using Moderna and stuff like that. If you look at the news, you see that's what they're using, AstraZeneca. I mean, that was approved for all those countries in Europe.
Right.
America do their own thing. China do their own thing.
Right. But
so everybody's
you see what you're saying there? Makes a lot of sense and it's completely understandable. But from this vision, from what a lot of people are seeing and hearing, they don't see it like that. They're seeing, and you cannot blame them. So it comes back to education. It comes back to meeting with people, talking to people, letting them understand what is happening. Because I spoke to someone in Grenada, and they said that Cuban vaccine, if that Cuban vaccine were to authorize in Grenada, they'll take it. They have no problem taking the Cuban vaccine. They have no problem taking a number of other vaccines. They just don't want AstraZeneca. And that's what they're saying. So I think that if the region, if whoever authorized those vaccines for the Caribbean region could get options of vaccine, you'll see the rate of vaccination go up.
But people always make excuses. You know, when this one comes, they will say they don't want that one. They're waiting for this one.
Yeah.
They will always make excuses.
Yeah, you're right.
How you try to please people, they'll always try to make an excuse. Oh, I'll wait for this one.
Yeah.
Some people say, oh, I want the Chinese one. Then they'll say, another person say, I don't want the Chinese one.
Yeah.
And, this is the best vaccine is the one that is available.
That is
true. They always teach you that.
That is true.
The best vaccine is the one that is available.
Yeah.
So people, you have a choice to die or a choice to live. It's your choice. If you want to die, you don't take it. If you want to stand a chance to live a little bit, you take it. Because you don't take it, you sure some people mightn't be that lucky, like how you are lucky that you didn't get maybe the Delta variant. Maybe you got the mild COVID one and you survived and you live to tell people, well, what you went through. Other people mightn't have that same experience. The Delta will just take you out, boom, and that's it. You don't have no, and then on your diet.
Well, hold on that. They're not saying that you get a lot more sick. They're saying that it's much more transmissible. It's easily transmitted from person to person. The amount of vaccine load in your body is more, and it transmits faster. But they don't have a lot of studies to say that you get all people are getting more sicker than anything else. So I think that is to be noted. But I got your point, caller. Thank you for calling. Thank you for watching, and thank you for being a part of this conversation. We really appreciate you so much.
All right, and enjoy the rest of your night.
All right, thank you. Yeah, guys, that's all for me here today. I have to wrap it up. I have to go. But we one thing I want to leave with, right, is that if it was up to me, I would advise people to check with their doctors and see if they have any pre-existing condition that would be affected by the vaccine. If you don't, I would advise my friends to take the vaccine, because you might be in a situation where, and a lot of people are in the situation, you catch COVID and you're laying there on the bed. All right, you're laying there on the bed, and you're begging for the vaccine at this point in time, but it is too late. You are laying there, you can't breathe. I know how it feels like, right? It's not a good feeling to not being able to breathe. You may think that it's just like, it's no big deal. But at that point in time, the biggest person, the strongest person, the toughest person, the person who have the most wherewithal, and I'm tough and I'm big and all that stuff, you'll be crying. And you'll be trying every single thing just to make sure that oxygen comes from your nose and goes down to your lung, and your lung expand, and you could inhale and exhale. The most difficult thing is to feel like you're drowning on your own, inability to breathe. Your lung full up with water or liquid, and it's not sponging as how it's supposed to, and that is the worst feeling. So you have to go to the hospital. They intubate you, put you on a respirator, and bet your mind, if you go on that, 90% of the times you don't come out. So I say all of this to say, you have an opportunity to do either or, right? You have an opportunity to take good care of yourself. Talk to your doctor, get the best advice possible. Talk to your doctor. And I would advise people, I went through it, and trust me, it wasn't a nice feeling. Consider taking the vaccine. Yeah. All right, but it should not be mandated. It's a personal choice, and I stand firmly on that as well. Okay, so thanks everyone for watching, guys. This is a late breaking program again. We were talking about not only about the vaccine, we were talking about what happened and what transpired in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And we're going to continue to update the Ride Along fans and followers and viewers on the progression of that. We'll try to get to speak to someone, probably tomorrow, on what's happening with the Prime Minister. And I don't care what political affiliation or how politically affiliated you are in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I don't think that anyone should take matters into their own hand and assault a world leader, or anybody for that matter. I don't think that it is the way to go. I don't think that that's how we in the Caribbean get justice. I don't think that's how we get our word out. I think that there are far better way. So we do not condone what happened today. We absolutely do not condone what transpired today with the Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We hope and wish him a speedy recovery. No matter what political affiliation you are, we cannot, you still cannot sit by and say that this was a good act. It wasn't good. You don't look good. You know, as a people, as people looking at us in the Caribbean region, it does not look good. This is going to be on CNN, and this is going to be people looking at like, this is the Caribbean where I go and it's a vacation spot. And you know, after all of this, I want to go on vacation. That we are loving people. We are loving people. We are not people that get involved in wars, right? We don't do that. And I understand that people are frustrated. I understand that people are frustrated. They are the last with. But this is, I don't think that this is the way that we solve problems, right? All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. I gotta go. I gotta run. Thanks to our producer, Lois JJ, for furnishing all this information. I see a lot of my friends in St. Vincent and the Grenadines that's watching as well. We will be on the ground in St. Vincent and the Grenadines in a few days, going around and getting some footage, speaking to some of you on the ground to find out firsthand what's happening in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So I want you guys to look out for us when we're there in all ways. We're going to be there and trying to also raise some funds. We're going to be working with our organization to try to raise some funds because St. Vincent had like a quadruple whammy. They had the COVID, they had the volcanic eruption, they had this unrest that's happening, and they have this protest that's ongoing, and people are not doing well. High level of poverty, and just, I mean, people are displaced. And I understand people are still in shelters, although people don't talk about it. There are people that in those red zones that can't even go back to their houses. They are in shelters right now as we speak. And it is not a good place. It's not good for no one with the condition that St. Vincent and the Grenadines is going through right now. We saw recently, as of just a couple of days ago, and it trickles every week or so, people from St. Vincent and the Grenadines are making their way illegally into neighboring islands. And they're being arrested and sent back from those neighboring islands. And because the situation obviously is not pristine, it's not a good situation in St. Vincent right now. And it's important that the other islands work towards helping St. Vincent find a resolution to this problem. We all are neighbors. If one sneezes, the other one gets the cold. We're right over there. Ash go up in the air in St. Vincent, it fall in Grenada, it fall in Barbados. So it's not a St. Vincent problem. It's everybody problem. All of us have to be very aware and concerned as to what's happening. So we're going to be raising funds for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We're going to be working to make sure that the kids have what they need, the women, the children, the men, as much as we can. And the diaspora has a very important role in this as well. We cannot sit by and just say, oh, we're not from there and that's what it is and leave it like that. No, we have a responsibility to help out the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines as well. Thank you, guys. Catch me tomorrow. Bye-bye.
I will survive. And I'm a firm believer. We'll forever shine. Simple means say nobody can hold me man. Nobody can change my energy. Nobody can turn me sick. I will let alone negativity. Nobody can hold me man. Nobody can change my energy. Nobody can. Everybody show me some strength. No weakness, show me a lion power. Strength, no weakness, show them who we are. Strength, no weakness, show me a lion power. Everybody strength, no weakness, show them who we are. Not when you're old. Your enemies, they must tremble. Your enemies, they must tremble. Yo, not when you're old. Everything has to humble.